For all of us, our ordinary has become the extraordinary. The world around us, our world and our children's world, a world we once knew has minimal stability. It is a rapidly ever-changing world which requires us as individuals to alter the way in which we go about living our everyday lives. Some of you may know me from the community and others may know me from shul. My name is Talli Brajtberg. I am a wife, I am a mum, I am a daughter, I am a sister, and I am an early special education childhood educator. As I reflect upon how my lives and the life of those around me has changed, I consider myself fortunate. In our ever-changing world, I'm fortunate enough to be blessed with my beautiful family and their support. I'm blessed to have my health. I'm fortunate enough to have a roof over my head and food on the table. And I'm fortunate enough to have a job that I go to every single day. Yes, life for my family has become more of a juggle than in the once ordinary world we lived in. However, mine and my husband's role of being parents to our two beautiful girls hasn't changed. As parents, to some, we are simply just mum and dad, but to our children, we are so much more than that. In our children's eyes, we are their mum and dad. We are their friends. We are their educator. We are someone they can trust and turn to. We are someone they can talk to and confide in, and we are someone that they will protect forever. We will keep them safe and love them unconditionally. In our children's ever-changing world, we are their constant. Just like there is no parenting manual to guide us how to be parents and educators to our children, there is also no step-by-step guide or manual to support and teach our children how to behave, interact, cope with challenges, and be the so-called perfect child. Every day should be another day that we are blessed to go through life together, experience a journey which we can make unique for our own family, and travel through the smooth and bumpy roads together. In a world which has become unstable in many respects, one thing is certain. Now, more than ever, it is imperative to continue to provide stability for our children. Parents can support their children by enabling them to feel that they are sharing an extraordinary experience with you. Find ways to create a sense of we're all going through something unique together. Provide children with certainty that in time, the challenges they're experiencing will ease and eventually come to an end. It's not just grown-ups who are worrying about the coronavirus and the constant day-to-day changes. As parents, it is important that we listen to our children. It is imperative that we listen to the questions coming from our children, and we do our best to provide them with age-appropriate and developmentally appropriate, honest and clear answers. Talk about the coronavirus with your children. It is important to not avoid talking about coronavirus with your children. By avoiding the topic, children may become more worried and unsure about what is going on. Remember, our children are constantly picking up information from their peers, the media, and what they are observing and hearing around them in the world they live. For this reason, they may have already got their own thoughts and ideas about coronavirus. So start by asking them what they know. Use open-ended questions and address any worries, fear and false information they may have heard. It is important to be honest and to tell our children that we don't have all the answers, but we ourselves understand that when we know more, we will share information with them. Be open and honest, but age appropriate. Consider and be mindful of your child's age when sharing information with them. Children of different ages will need different answers. Keep it simple and clear for young ones and provide more detailed information for older children and teenagers. Be mindful of the type of information your children are receiving through the media and try to limit and control this where possible. Try to limit how much TV your children watch, how much they are hearing and reading the news, including on social media. Seeing graphic images or reading about the increasing number of cases of coronavirus can become overwhelming and upsetting and can create heightened anxiety for your children. It is important to try and stick to routines where possible. Children need routine more than ever during uncertain and unpredictable times. It is imperative to try and maintain as much predictability in the house and daily life as possible. You can structure your child's routine around mealtime and bedtimes, as well as online learning activities for older children, and be sure to include lots and appropriate family time. Focus on the things that children can control. We need to help children focus on what they can do and say to stay safe and healthy by giving children practical things that they can do to help will allow them to feel empowered rather than helpless. Remind children about hand hygiene, make sure they know how to wash their hands properly, and remind them to do this before and after they eat, as well as after touching their face or blowing their nose. Encouraging physical activity, such as healthy diet and plenty of sleep, are also really important ways to support your children. Find varying ways to keep kids active. These can include spending time in the backyard, going for daily walks, bike rides or runs, creating obstacle courses, treasure hunts, or appropriate physical activities within the house, and allow your children to be involved in meal preparation. Recognize signs of anxiety and stress in your children. We all react differently in stressful situations. Some children are naturally more anxious than others. Be mindful and aware of unusual behaviours in your children. Younger children may show signs of stress and anxiety through changes in their behaviour. They might be more emotional, have temper tantrums, or trouble sleeping and eating. Older children can show these signs too, or they may also appear distracted, have trouble concentrating, or become withdrawn. Some children may develop repetitive or obsessive behaviours, such as excessive fear of germs or contamination. Make sure you keep having conversations with your children about things beside coronavirus. Take time to sit with your child and listen to what they are worried about. If you are concerned about your child showing signs of high levels of stress or anxiety, please seek professional advice. It is the survival of the whole team as a family who are in it together that will lead to the feeling that you are winning. Try to focus on your family survival, whatever its size may be. As a family and a community, we are all in this together.
Hi everyone, my name's Ruth and I will be showing you how to make challah today. We're all in lockdown, so there's no excuse that you can't spend the day making challah with your kids, for your family. Tastes much better than the store-bought challah, so give it a go. And here we go. Starting off with the flour. I've made a well in the middle, so you're going to put your water, all the water, into the well in the middle. It's warm water, not hot. And then we're going to add our yeast, just sprinkled over the top of our water. There's our yeast, and we're going to add 110 grams of our sugar to this first lot, just sprinkled over the top. Down. Just give it a little bit of a mix so that some of that yeast is down to the bottom. And then we're going to wait 10 to 15 minutes until the yeast starts to activate and froth up, which means it's activating. or doing its work to build up bubbles, and then we'll go on to the next step. So it's been about 15 minutes now. As you can see, the yeast has started to activate with all these bubbles on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle in the rest of our sugar, which is about 60 grams. And we're going to wait another 5 minutes for that just to continue to activate, and then we will continue with our colour. Okay, so it's been another around 5 minutes, and it's just still got that frothy look. So now we're going to add our 2.5 tablespoons of salt, just around the edge. Yeah, some salt. And we've got our oil, vegetable oil, and 2 eggs that will just give a little stir together. We're going to pour into the middle of our dough. And just to start with, we are going to use the spatula just to bring the flour into the liquid, just to get it going into its dough form. And then we're going to start use our hands on the bench and start with the kneading. Because we're only doing 1 kilo of flour, which makes about two challahs, or you can make small bilkers and whatnot. We don't need to say any brachot or anything because we're not making big enough quantities. So there you go. I usually start this in the morning so that by the time it needs to rise for a few hours and prove again later, we've got enough time to get it all happening. You can go and get all the things you need for Shabbat and be back to get cooking later in the day. So now that we've got it to a sort of formed dough, we're just going to put a bit of flour on our bench. We're going to tip out our dough onto the bench. So we're just going to get as much of that dough out of our bowl. And before we get our hands too dirty, we're going to spray the same bowl that we just had with some extra virgin or just some olive oil spray, because this is where we're going to put our dough back in to prove. So we just spray that with some oil, just a light spray, and now we're going to get kneading. We need to form a nice soft dough with no lumps in it, which will take around 10 minutes. So I've been kneading for about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. It's very not exact, so it doesn't have to be 10 minutes, but you can see how it's nice and smooth. Springs back a little bit, but basically it's a nice soft smooth dough, which is what we want. So now what we're going to do is I've got our greased bowl that we greased up before. We're going to put our dough just in the middle of that, and then we're going to get, you can either use a tea towel, or I prefer to just cover with some glad wrap, so that we keep the warmth, let the dough rise. Cover with some glad wrap. And now we're going to keep our dough in a nice warm spot for about 2 to 3 hours, give or take, depending how warm your room is. So it's probably doubled in size. And then we will come back to plate our chalahs and get ready for baking. Okay, so it's been 3 hours and my challah dough has risen, nice and soft. I'm about to separate it into 2 lots, and I'm going to show you how to do a 4 braid challah. Okay, so my family likes the seeded challah, so I've got a mix here of nigella, poppy seed, sesame seed and onion flakes, which I've tossed over, and I can add at the end as well when I bake it. So we're taking the 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to take our 4 strand over our 2 strand. Then we're going to take our 1 strand over our 3 strand. Then our 2 strand over our 3 strand. And we're going to do the same thing again. So we're going to go 4 over 2, 1 over 3, 2 over 3. And then again, 4 over 2, 1 over 3, 2 over 3. 4 over 2, 1 over 3, 2 over 3. 1 over 4, 2 over 3, 2 over 2, and the last time, 1, oops, 4 over 2, 1 over 3, 2 over 3, and then we just tuck in our end, and we place on our baking tray. And I'm just going to put the next one in a 6 and show you what it looks like, and then we're going to bake. Okay, I'm just going to show you a 6-strand challah, which you can look up on YouTube and you can have a go for yourself. There's your 6-strand challah. So now we're going to let the challas prove, which is rise one more time for about 30 minutes with a cover over it, just a tea towel or glad wrap. And then we're going to egg wash, add more seeds if you want, and bake in the oven. So here's our challas that have proven again the second time. Put the egg wash and seeds, and now we're going to bake in a preheated 180-degree oven for about 35 minutes. Here's the challas out of the oven, all cooked, risen, smells good. Experiment, give it a go, add some cinnamon sugar, sultanas inside, cook it for longer if you like it a little bit browner. The recipe is at the end of this video. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Good evening, everybody, and the whole Chabad Glen Eira community. Very much missing everybody, and hopefully it won't be too much longer so we're all in person again. Despite all the news that seems to be coming out the wrong direction, Hashem will help us and turn things around before we know it. Moving on, this week's Parsha is a double Parsha, Matot-Masai. And although there are obviously so many themes we can discuss, I personally think the theme that sticks out to me is commitment. It's all about vows and commitment and what does it mean. And specifically, a vow is something so much more powerful than just saying, I'll get to it, maybe, I'll try my best. A vow means no matter what, I will do this. And I think it's an incredible life skill, and it's something that we're reading in the Parsha, but it applies today as much as it did when Moshe gave us the Torah. When you make a vow to do something, you find a way to follow through. And that, to me, is the key theme of this week's Parsha. And whether it's something like tackling weight loss, speaking to somebody on the phone regularly, doing something, there's a big, big difference between just saying, yeah, I'll try my best and I'll do it, versus really making a full, all and out commitment that says, no matter what. Now, the question always is, okay, I want to commit to something. I understand that, and I understand about making a vow, but how do I really put it into practice, into action? And my suggestion is the word leverage. You've got to get leverage on yourself. You've got to make the pain of not doing something so great that it will force you in the other direction. Or, on the other hand, the pleasure of doing something so fantastic that it will absolutely propel you to carry on and push on forward. And at times, maybe it's a bit of both. But all these lessons about commitments, vows, getting leverage on yourself, they're all taking place in the Torah. And that's why this week's Parsha, or double Parsha, of Matot-Masai are so special to me.
The yahrzeits for the upcoming week, Valery Davidov for his father, Cynthia Cohen for her mother, and Kathy Greenblatt for her father. Wish you all a long life. The upcoming Jewish birthdays, Michael Birnbaum, Kaylee Brajtberg, Robert Berger, Meir Cohen, Julie Davis, Yitzchok Rona, Jakey Israel, Aiden Rawak, Lawrence Slamoy, Adam Meir Sabari, and Alina Zipman. We wish you all a very happy Jewish birthday. In the second part of this week's double portion in Masai, it enumerates all the journeys the Jews traveled in the desert. There are 42 of them. And the Torah says they journeyed from this city, and they encamped in this city, and they journeyed from this city, and they encamped in this city 42 times. In one of the journeys, the Torah states that they journeyed from a place called Mara and arrived and encamped at a place called Elim. And in Elim, they found 12 springs and 70 palm trees. That was the only place that the Torah actually describes what they found there. Why? Now, it's important to understand that the place that they left from, Mara, something also happened there. The Torah says, why was the place called Mara? Mara means bitterness. So the Torah in Peshalach, in the previous Parsha, explains that when they came to Mara, they found water, but they could not drink from it because they were bitter. That's the wording of the Torah, which simply means the water was bitter. The Baal Shem Tov interprets the verse that they refers to the Israelites. The Israelites were bitter. Because they felt bitterness, therefore the water was bitter for them. Many psychiatrists and psychotherapists have told us countless times that a person's state of mind and mood can affect the reality of their life. If they're in a state of bitterness, then everything feels and tastes bitter, even though in reality it is very sweet. A similar episode happened in the Torah when Hagar and Ishmael were sent away from Abraham and Sarah's house. Ishmael became very sick and there was no water left, and he was about to die from thirst. Hagar was in a state of despair. She laid her son Ishmael in the desert and walked away because she couldn't watch her son die from thirst. Then the Torah says, and God opened up her eyes, and she saw a well, and then she gave Ishmael to drink, and he survived. But why does the Torah say God opened up her eyes? Why can't the Torah say she looked around and she found a well? The answer is because the well was always there. But because she was in a state of dejection and despair, she didn't see it. She didn't see any salvation. So God had to actually open up her eyes, give her a different perspective. And it just shows that our perspective can actually affect the life and death of somebody else. So this gives us a deeper insight in the meaning of the verse in this parsha. They traveled from Mara. Psychologically means they rid themselves, they separated themselves from Mara, from bitterness. And therefore, when they came to Elim, and they saw 12 springs and 70 palm trees, which is very small for a population of several million, but it became a very pleasant event because they started appreciating even a small oasis. But the question is, what tools did they have to separate themselves from the bitterness of Mara? So the Medrash tells us that in Mara, another important event happened. God actually gave them the mitzvah of Shabbat, even before Sinai, when they arrived at Mara. They were also given other mitzvot. And you know what the psalmist says? That the mitzvot of Hashem are just and gladden the heart. Because they embraced these mitzvot, that gave them the tools to rid themselves of their bitterness. And therefore, when they came to the next destination, they appreciated even the small little things that were there. We are again in the second lockdown of COVID-19. It's so important that our attitude is positive, that we maintain a positive attitude. Because if we are in a state of despair or dejection and we are bitter, then everything becomes bitter for us, even things which are really sweet. But if you have a positive attitude, we will find pleasantness and sweetness in almost every good thing we see. But we need the tools. We need the tools to shed ourselves from any dejection or despair or bitterness. And the tools for a Jew is very simply, study Torah. Study the Parsha of the week. There are so many books in English and so much on the internet that we can delve ourselves and occupy ourselves in understanding the teachings and the lessons of the Parsha. Study Jewish mysticism. Study anything in Torah that talks to you, that resonates with you, because Torah nourishes the soul and makes us serene and gives us an upbeat mood. Also, celebrate the Shabbos the best way we can. Shabbos is a savior for the Jewish people, and it is a savior for us during this time. We wish you a really enjoyable, happy Shabbat.